G'day traders, 1 minute mindset reset. Today we're talking about setting your goals for the upcoming week. It's Friday, end of a big week, big 3 weeks in the markets actually. Rinse and repeat. Nothing's going to change. The same opportunities are going to keep coming. So the goals that I like to review for myself each month, each week, each year, pretty much every day I'm setting something to keep my attention on 1% better every day. But setting a new goal for the week, you look back, go back and review the opportunities in the session that you were trading in terms of the opportunities that you were able to identify within your process. So what can you improve in your process? Maybe your process is already textbook perfect. Maybe your execution on some trades needs a 1% tweak somewhere, whether it's marking levels, whether it's just narrowing down the number of instruments you were looking at to try and identify the trades, or if you have too many instruments open during the trading session itself and you get scrambled because you can't focus on one or two, whether you were prepared in terms of levels, whether you were prepared after you executed a flawlessly profitable trade. Did you go back afterwards and look for more and do some damage, or engage in reckless, impulsive behavior? Little things that can improve for next week. What parameters, what action steps will help you enforce those changes, those improvements? As I talk about an actionable review process, it has to have an actionable review process, put steps in place that actually makes a difference, so that you don't just, as I talk about, take screenshots and then go back and say, okay, this is where I would get in. Talking about time rotation, lots of questions this week, tons of great questions. Just simple stuff. Go back into the playbook, understand the importance of when time rotates. So, if I'm in a trade that's counter trend on a stop hunt, I'm paying attention to the clock, because I know as I get closer to the end of a 15-minute cycle, especially if it's at the end of the hour, I'm looking for that market to potentially start to reverse against me, or locking in the low or the high. Again, I short a lot, so I'm paying attention if I'm in an up market like gold, where I'm going to need to lock it in. So little things. Could you have gotten more out of winners? Could you have taken a smaller loss? Whatever those goals need to be for the next week to ensure that you're getting better. If you're having trouble identifying some trades, narrow down your focus. I talk about, so I follow the 6 major pairs in terms of currencies. The 2 cross rate, yen and euro, yen crosses. But I will look, if there's a setup on one of those pairs or both pairs in the session, in the US session, I will often filter through quickly on the other Aussie yen, New Zealand yen, to see if one of those is potentially a better setup. And when I talk about shorting, weak versus strong, little things like that. So not just trying to trade, one instrument all the time, but I'm using those as my filter. So I talk about using US CAD, US yen, US Swiss. To me, I'm looking at them as one, and I'm looking for which one is potentially set up for a best trade setup. I'm not looking at them to figure out how I'm going to trade all 3, or looking for a trade. I'm looking at one, and if none of them are set up, then I'm looking at the other 4, mainly euro and pound, to identify whether or not one of those is a candidate, which tells me, number one, if none of those are set up ideally in terms of a US dollar cross, then I'm going to look at gold, oil, or one of the indexes. And again, same thing applies with the indexes. I'm only looking for 1 out of the 3 that might be set up as a best trade candidate. And I talked about this in an earlier video with quarter levels, major quarter levels, and the high and lows of the day, how those days set up over the 12 to 16 hours heading into the New York window. So some days you're just going to have to step back and, today, big moves in Europe, first red day trades. We had news at 9:45 a.m. So I just go and look at gold. There's a huge amount of movement. The markets are at that point quite distended. No low-hanging fruit opportunities presented to me for that first few hours. That wasn't even set up to look like that. And so I just looked at gold and looked at how it traded in that first hour heading into the New York Open. And then it gave the same opportunity. First hour put in a high, Then it pushed up into the high, broke down. New York opens, we need to wait 15 minutes. They pumped it back into that peak formation, little engulfment at 50 for the 75 pip move down into longs from the London session in the gap time. So fair enough, that's it, lock it in, done. Call it a day, it's the end of the week, and get out of there, get on with my day. So sometimes the traders in Europe had a 10 to 1 plus opportunity today, more than 10 to 1. There was four to five opportunities this week for traders to go for 10 to 1. We had first red day, we had first green day, we had high of the week, huge moves on gold, huge moves on the currencies, huge moves in the US session on Wednesday, on day 3, euro yen, pound yen. So again, 1%, what are your goals for the week to be better than you were this week? Constant progress, Kaizen. Have a great day, traders. Enjoy your weekend. Congratulations. Keep it going and keep it growing. And may the markets go with you. Have a great day.